Hey everyone, it's Cheryl from Tinker's Cart Art, and I'm going to pop in today and show you a little find. I found some great little things to paint up for Halloween and fall at Target. I don't know if you saw my live one day and I showed you all those treasures, and I told you I would let you know when I started painting them. So today we're going to paint one. So thank you guys for popping in. Say hello, let me know that you are here and where you're watching from. And what we're going to paint today is a very cute little pumpkin basket. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to use and how I put that little ribbon trim on there. And I'm also going to pull up your comments. So if you have any questions as I go along, please let me know. I see a few people popping on, so say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. I'm happy to see you all this afternoon. So I'm just going to use my acrylic paints. And if you remember, I bought this little basket at Target, you know, that little section that you pop into when you're on your way in and they have fun little inexpensive things. I forget the prices now, maybe $5 or $5, I think. It was just a plain wood base. Hi, Pat from Maine. I'm back in Mass this morning. But I do paint with you from Maine sometimes. Hey, Diana. Oh, yes. Let me know what you think about that app. There's an app, you guys, that I have recently found. I did a little video on it. It's called Da Vinci Eye. It's about $6.99 one-time purchase. I'm not an affiliate or anything, but I did find it was pretty cool. You can use your iPhone or Android, and it allows you to take a photo and trace it onto your canvas. Pretty cool for doing pet paintings and people paintings and that sort of thing. So check out my page and you will see the video on that. Or if you have any questions, send me a message. Hey, Pam, nice to see you. Amy from Wisconsin. Hello. Hello, everyone. So we're going to paint some of our Target things. I'm going to start today with this little pumpkin basket. So it was simply a wire basket with just plain wood here. And I found this ribbon. Let me show you. I'm not very super crafty with ribbon and bows and things, but I found this package at Michael's, and it looked like this. It looked like this. I forget what camera, and I'm going to move the camera so you can see me painting better. But it was all of these bits of ribbon in a little package, which works for me because, like I say, I'm not really crafty. I love the colors. I knew the colors would go with what I'm painting for Halloween. I was going to do this and show you how I did it, but honestly, I didn't know what I was doing. I had the ribbon wrapped all around this little basket, all different ways. So I ended up just taking like 4 strands. So I just pulled 4 strands off of this bundle that I like the colors. And I simply just started at the bottom, put it, took it, say it was this piece here, say this was my bundle, right? So let me turn the camera. You guys don't need to see me. You need to see what I'm doing. So there, I took this bundle of 4 ribbons and just folded it in half and then just simply wrapped it all around the wire. And when I got to the top, there was a little wire stem. I just tied it with a piece of jute, like that little jute that you use for crafty things. And I thought it came out real cute. I tried a bunch of ways. I tried weaving it through the sides, and it just kind of flip-flopped around. It really didn't work. So since this worked, I didn't want to unwrap it. It's super simple. I'm not like I said, I can't make those beautiful bows. So I just wrapped it all around. And I painted my background just some yellow into a light orange. I'm going to put a little pumpkin with a witch hat and some bats. Pretty simple. Oh, Diana, I got this at Target. You know, when you walk in and there's all kinds of little crafty things, I'm always trying to find things that aren't just canvases or something meant for painting that I could paint and create and make into something else. Hello from Southwest Florida. And Deb, hi, thanks for watching from Canada. Yeah, Diana, I made that video, so if you have any trouble, let me know. Da Vinci's app has great customer service, and within the app, you can click on their videos, which are probably better than mine, but I wanted to show you a little bit about how I did it. And so I got some other cool things. They had little glass jars with wooden tops, which will be nice painted. I got this little baskety thing. So it was wood grain, wood tone. I just painted it navy blue. It has like a little edging of spider webs. They had these little picks there for $1. I don't know if I'm going to use them or not, but I'm going to paint a purple spider on here because of the spider webs. I won't do that today. We'll do a quick little one today with the pumpkins, and then I'll go on and do the spider. How I start these projects is I sketch. So I love to get you guys sketching, because keep a sketchbook with you. You can sketch little odds and ends, get ideas. If you see something that interests you, this is where I get my ideas. I do sketches. Well, look at a lot of blank pages there, but I do a lot of sketches. This was a sketch for my water lily painting. My barn painting we just finished. I'm going to do chickens soon, and maybe they're going to wear little hats. I don't know. We did Father Christmas. I did that painting sample up for the membership. This was where my little Vincent Van Gogh idea came from. We just painted him. I just painted him for my art membership. And here's my ideas here for that little round tray I just showed you. I originally started this for one of the little wooden boxes. I started putting little potion bottles maybe, and with fun names. You know, you could put mermaid tears and frog toes or whatever. But I thought this is going to be a better painting bigger, so you can see the jars and see the labels rather than on the little cover that I was going to do it on. So keep a sketchbook, keep a pencil. It takes no time at all to sit and sketch. You could be in the car waiting for someone at the doctor's office. Just little sketches allow you to put a little art into your day every day easily. You don't need a big space. You don't need a lot of materials. Just gather your ideas so that when you sit down to paint, you'll have something to go by. So that's how I started. I did that little sketch and painted my background just so you didn't have to watch the paint dry. And I simply sketched on my pumpkin with a piece of chalk. Now you can certainly transfer your design from your sketch if you want to. If you take a look at my YouTube channel, I do have a nice little video on how to transfer your patterns onto your wood or canvas. You can do that with transfer paper. You could take your sketch or a printout and just rub the back of the paper with a pencil, and the graphite will transfer. But something like this, I wasn't really worried. It's just a big oval for the pumpkin and a cute little witch hat. Hey, Deb. Yes, I have the sketchbook like this for all my ideas. I have little sketchbooks, watercolor sketchbooks, where I do a lot of urban sketching, and I just sketch wherever I am. So I really advocate sketching as a way to just get a little art into your everyday, and it's great to spur ideas for paintings too. So I just put on a few acrylic colors, white and black, a burnt sienna, reddish brown, purple, a yellow, and an orange. I may pull out more color too as we go, but I'm going to start with this, and I'm going to paint carefully around my wrapped ribbon because, you know, usually I get paint every which way. But let's just have fun and paint this little witch. It's a witch with a pumpkin face, or a pumpkin with a witch hat, however you want to think of it. And please, again, I'm watching your comments. I want you to say hello. I love to see that you're here. And I know it's just off the cuff this morning. I just go on. I haven't painted this before. You guys are great to have the patience to kind of see what it's going to come out like. And some of you might have gotten an email or a notification by text, and I'll put that information out as we go, because if you want to be on my texting list, I will text you a few minutes before I go live like this. It's a lot of times not planned. I just pop on, and it's recorded. So you will see the recording later too. So don't worry about, watching it too carefully. The recording will be up, and I always will share that with you. So I'm going to paint my pumpkin face first, and I'm going to just start by putting on a base of orange. And like I said, when I sketched it, it was basically just a big oval with a little witch hat on top. I'm just using my ordinary craft acrylics. You could use what you have. You could use tubed acrylics. Paint with it with whatever you have, whatever brushes you have, that will do the job. I'm not real particular about saying you have to have particular materials. I'd rather have you get painting with something you have and add to it if you find something's not working, then always say, thinking you can't get started because you don't have all the right materials. You can have whatever you want and make something of it. So just a big pumpkin head. Actually, the orange is covering nicely on there. Sometimes the orange is a little transparent. And while that's a little wet, since it went on there so nicely, I'm probably going to go ahead and add a little bit of the burnt sienna for those little grooves that you have in the pumpkin face. I'm going to just take my burnt sienna, and I'm going to just put a dark line where those grooves are going to go. Can you see how I've kind of curved it to the left there? I'm going to curve it a little more. I'm going to get a little straight in the middle. It's not really the true middle, but it's close enough. You could start with the middle so you got it lined up if you thought you wanted to have it just right. So all I did was really just paint them in. I haven't blended or anything yet. I've painted them in. And because my paint is still a little wet there, I think I'm going to take that brush I have orange on already. Just dry it off a little bit. You know, when I want to blend wet and wet, I just use a dry brush. Hey, Cindy. Hey, thanks for watching. And I'm just going to go and blend that a little bit. I'm just going to soften that paint in so that it's not such a harsh line. The paint's a little tacky still, so it's allowing me to blend. I'm just kind of going on one side of that line and then on the other. What's great about this is I can go back and deepen it if I need to, or lighten it. But right now, I just want it to look a little more three-dimensional, and we'll do that when I start getting a little shading and highlighting on there. I'm going to keep the brush dry for now and just wipe it off. And I'm going to add a little bit of yellow maybe in there. Let's see, maybe in the middle of these little sections, just to brighten it up. I like a little highlight and a little shading. It starts to come alive. Can you already see it's starting to get a little bit of a more of a 3D effect? It would be a little brighter in the middle of the pumpkin along those little areas because those are closest to us. So I will go in there and make those lighter by adding some yellow. And because the paint's a bit tacky, I'm really only having to just brush on a little of that paint. I don't have to even blend too much. If you find that there's some of the dark is too much, you can see it's a little bit dark here maybe. If you think that's too dark, just dry brush a little bit of orange over it. Again, if it's too light, you could deepen it up by going in with your burnt sienna. I like that yellow in there, so I'm going to put a little more of that. And then to make the middle pop, I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that little bit of yellow there. Now I'm going to take the yellow and add a tiny bit of white. And that's what I'm going to put, just little broad strokes of that in the middle. Now, this little pumpkin is going to have a face, so I really don't have to do all this detail. If this was just a plain painted pumpkin, you'd really want to make sure you get it brighter in the middle there. He's going to have a nose and face, more of a whimsical pumpkin than a real pumpkin, but I did want to get some shape in there and show you that. So that's pretty pumpkin-y looking to me, enough for a little carved pumpkin. And I'm going to let that dry before I put the face on there. So I'm going to go in and work on the hat. Now, witches' hats are usually black. We know that. I sometimes use blue, dark blues, some purples to either highlight my black things or mix a little in. I might mix a little bit of purple into that black for that hat. So I am just going to paint that hat in. I wanted to make a funny curved hat because I like that idea, but also because of the shape of this little wood piece. I couldn't have room to put the hat straight up. So this is just a base coat. It's a little transparent, so I know I'm going to let it dry very well and then do a second coat. I'm going to go to a smaller brush for the little turnover on the end and for the brim. Acrylics are a lot of times transparent, and a lot of times you do need a second coat or a third coat. The trick is to let it dry very, good in between. If you didn't, you would probably just be pulling off that first layer. So let it dry between. I'm not worried about my chalk lines. I can erase those easily afterwards. So this is just a little black and purple mixed for the hat. It looks very black there, but it is a little purple in there too. My little bats are going to be purple black as well. And there's a little hat band with a buckle. So let's just let that dry a little bit. The buckle is going to be a yellow later, and yellow is notorious for being transparent. So what I'm going to do is when the hat band is painted, I'm going to let it dry, paint a white buckle. When that's dried, then the yellow will show up. I'm going to give this little witch just a little bit of her body or cape down here. Look at, I'm having to paint like in between and all the things. Ideally, just paint it first and then put your trim on. I just wanted to see what it looked like because I really didn't know what I was going to do with it. So a little bit of her dress showing. Maybe I'll put a little tie around that after. I have this color out I'm going to use for the bats, the small bats. I'm going to use a smaller brush for. And I can even bring this closer. Let's see if I can bring this a little closer. I know it's nice to see close up what I'm doing here. And yeah, so the little bats are just little shapes. It's a little difficult to paint in the basket, but you can manage it. It's fun. I'm just painting little ovals for their bodies. Again, it's just that black and purple mixed. Little oval, looks like a spider almost. Actually, a spider would be cute. Spiders would be cute on this as well. I love all the Halloween themes, right? All the spooky stuff. It's just my favorite season. Little bat ears and wings. I'm just going to make little wings like this. Mostly because it's hard to get in there. And I'm going to give them some little highlights. So we're going to make 2 more bats over here. Again, I start with just a little oval. 2 little ears, bat ears, and then their wings. How many are already painting Halloween things? Hey, Denise. It's funny because I love summer so much, and I always tell you how much I love summer, but I don't want summer to be over, but I'm happy to be painting some fall things, even some Christmas things I've been painting. Got a cute little Vincent Van Gogh scarecrow. I just finished the sample in the class 4. If you guys, you probably hear me talk about it, but I do have a couple of art memberships. Sometimes I do one-off classes, but most of my work is in my membership, and I design paintings just for them, and we paint together and by recordings every month. I have 2 memberships. One is just a new painting every month, so you can get, an easy way to have some inspiration. I send you the photo and the tracers and the recording, which recordings are nice because then you can just watch whenever you want, stop and start. And then my other membership is 4 get-togethers a month, for 2 recorded classes, a class we paint together by Zoom, and then a tutorial night where we get together, just kind of hang out, paint something, learn how to paint something new. And those are my little batch, just the first coat. And so it's fun. And so I'll put a link later on in the comments if you're interested in something like that. It is a fun way to keep inspired or surround yourself with a creative community. And it's great because it's like for less than the price of a single paint night, you're going to get 4 different pieces of art every month. And it's not something you have to paint all. I try to tell everyone 4 is a lot. It's not like so that you can do 4 paintings. It's so that you can pick and choose what you like. You like animals, you can do animals. If you like the landscapes, do the landscape. It's not like you have to do everything. Yeah, Denise, I know. And I'm even doing some Christmas things, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, Diana, I have trouble with memory too, so that's why sketches are good. Online research is good. A little tip, you all know we cannot just go to Pinterest or to Google and take a photo or an image and copy it. I mean, you can do it for your own use or your own practice, but you can't go out there and portray it as your own or sell it. But there are a couple of sites that have royalty-free images for artists, which is fabulous. One is called Paint My Photo. It's a great site that photographers will share their work with artists. It's very organized. You could go on there and say, I want a picture of a dog, I want a picture of a mountain, I want a picture of whatever. And there are photographers there that have put up their pictures, and you can paint from them. And it's nice to give the photographer credit when you do that, but it's not something that it's nice to do, but you can just go in there and just research. You might want a barn. Take a picture of the barn, then you might see trees in another image that you could use, but that's paintmyphoto.com. It's pmp.com. Also Upsplash. They have a lot of royalty-free images there as well, upsplash.com. So it's hard to, no one's going to be able to sit down and do something out of their memory like an animal or a scene. You need some sort of reference photos. And I take lots of photos. I keep them in folders on my phone, landscapes, winter, fall, pumpkins, fruit, still life. And then I have those to go back to. So just keep an organized place where you can put photos, and you'll start getting lots of resources. And when you're designing paintings, it is a little easier. Hi, Terry. Hi, thanks for popping in. Okay, so this is drying quickly, which is great. Hat band, what color do I want that? I think I'm going to do that a little bit brighter purple. So let me just take the purple by itself and put that in. You know what? It's very, very transparent. Can you see? You can hardly see it. So what I'm going to do is actually just paint my whole hat band in white. That'll give me a little base. And when I go with a transparent color over it, it's going to be a little bit more opaque. So you can either base coat things in white and go over them, or mix a little white in with your color if that works, and that gives it a little bit more opaque too. So I'm going to give that a little base of white so that my purple will show up and so that my yellow buckle will show up. So the buckle will be more here. And let's let that little white bit dry, and we can go ahead and just go a second coat on our hat and on our bats. So I'm just going with that purple black mixture again, just a quick little second coat there. And on the hat. So the hat's going to be dark, so we don't really have to shade it very much. We can mostly just highlight that, and I'll do that with a light purple. If you've heard me speak about painting things that are black before, you know I don't really like to highlight in white or gray. It just is very dull looking. I usually go with light blue or purple or something like that. Now, that's just what I do, and I am painting. I don't expect you to follow along with exactly what I say like it's law, because in painting and art, there's no right or wrong. You do whatever you like, do your own thing, and that's when you discover really cool techniques and paintings. But I'll just give you tips and tricks and things that how I do them. But I want you to go ahead and make things your own. You don't have to try to make it look like mine. When I paint something twice, I can't even make it look the same. So do not struggle and get upset that you can't it doesn't look like mine, or it doesn't look like someone else's that painted it. Feel free to just make it your own, because that's what makes it interesting. That's what's fun about art, right? We're all doing our own thing. No judgment, no right or wrong. It's so much fun to see what you come up with. We're not trying to make these things look like photographs, you guys. We're trying to make fun. At least when I'm painting, I want a fun, whimsical, colorful painting. If I want a photo, I can look on my phone and find a photo. There's enough photos out there of things. We want to make it our own and have something that we enjoy looking at. Gives us a little memory maybe of somewhere we've been, or something like this, a holiday thing that's fun. I'm going to put probably a little hanger on the back and hang this, but you could certainly sit it on a table. You could use it in a little, like on your mantle, if you're doing like a little vignette, you could stand it and put some pumpkins around it. It would be a fun little accent to your Halloween or fall decorating, right? There. So they're just a little more covered. I'm going to go ahead and just put another coat on the little dress that we've got, her little cape or whatever. It's not much. It's just a little something to attach her head to her body there. And now we can do the face, which is fun because they give you, then that gives them some real personality. When I'm painting people and animals, usually I try to do the features first so that we really can see their little personality come out. Diana, I have a little class I did recently, which is called Sourcing Inspiration to Create Your Original Paintings. And I know you follow me, so you might have seen that, or I will try to share that information again. It's not just really sketching, but it just gives you an idea of how I gather inspiration, take photos, then how I translate them into painting. So that might be of interest too. I do love whimsy because that's just what I love. But you can also trace, you have a landscape or something that you did yourself. I was talking about that Da Vinci Eye app. You can certainly use that as a guide to trace it on your canvas, get a rough idea of where things are going. It helps with perspective on buildings and things. So that's sometimes, I will certainly sometimes just take my photograph and make a tracing of it too. And that gets me started. And then I go ahead and I, of course, change colors up. I move things. You've got artistic license. You don't like that tree. That building's too complicated. That building is so many windows and doors. You can simplify all that. No one needs all the detail. You just want to get the impression of it. And that's all you really need. Hi, Sharon. Thanks for watching. Hey, thank you guys. This is great. Off last minute, all popping in to paint a pumpkin, right? Okay, so what are we going to do for her? I'm going to paint her features in white. I kind of want to make her look a little like she's lit from inside. So rather than painting like dark eyes, I'm going to try going light. Let's see how that works. We'll do it in white. If I don't like it, it's acrylic paint. We paint right over it. So I don't really worry too much when I'm painting acrylics. I can either wipe it off while it's wet, start again. I can certainly paint it over. I'm not going to fuss with it, but listen, if you really want a little sketch, you could do this with a pencil or a piece of chalk first. Get it where you want it. And if you don't like it, the chalk erases very easily. Don't feel like you have to do it all freehand. Did I have a little nose on her? I did have a little nose on her. Just a little triangle. And I'm doing the typical little triangle eyes and nose on the pumpkins, but you know, you could do all sorts. You can do little half moons. You could do little ovals. Nothing says it has to be, you know, traditional. I want to make a big creepy mouth. So I'm going to do it white first so I can go in kind of with a yellow later so that it looks like almost like there's a candle inside or that it's light in there. I know my pumpkin is not that dark, so we'll see if it works. I can maybe outline it if I need to too. And the reason I'm doing the white is just to get a base because the yellow is not going to cover. And I'm actually probably going to do 2 coats of white. I want it to be nice and light inside there. And I think I will probably do a little outline, but we'll see. Any outlining or detailing you can always do with paint markers if you're not comfortable with the small brush. This is a little hard leaning on the wire and getting these fine lines, but you could certainly do a paint marker. The paint markers are fabulous for signing your name and doing details. They really look like I'm going to do another coat real quick of that hat band. They really look like you painted. Unlike like a Sharpie or something, the paint markers are actually paint in the barrel, and so it comes out really looking like paint, which is cool. I like the Posca paint markers, but there's all sorts of brands at the craft stores that you could use. Just be very careful. If you really have to have the paint that you're going over with the paint marker really dry. Otherwise, it takes one little bit of damp or wet paint to like seize that whole little marker up. So you have to really wait and let everything else dry and then go back and do your details. Okay, so I've got my dark hat. It looks very black there, I know. The lighting is not great. I think the phone's casting a little shadow, but it's a little purpley. But I want to give it a purple highlight, a light purple highlight. So I'm going to mix up a lighter purple. Diana, yeah, remind me. I don't have the link handy for that that course, but I will get that to you or send me a private message. But I am going to put up the information in a minute too of the texting number if you want to get me that way, or the membership information, which is kind of cool. Actually, I'll do it now while this is drying a little bit. So I think I can put it in the comments. So this is the link just to tell you about the 2 memberships. If that link doesn't work, you guys let me know. I don't know if it's working as a link. And then check my page, and Diana, send me a message, or anybody who's interested in that sourcing inspiration. It's just a one little course, little class. If you join the memberships, you get that for free. But you can also just take a look at it on its own. And if you're on my pages and things, you can always ask me questions. I'm usually checking comments and things pretty often. Sometimes on the weekends I take a little break, but throw those questions out. And if I don't answer, send me a message or something. I'm happy to help you along. I love to teach people to paint, and I love to see how everybody comes along and does their thing. So let me give you that number. I'll put the number up here for a second. If you text me at this, just say hello, or and then you're on my list. So if I have a class or something going on, or I just pop on to paint like this, you'll be on my list. So that's my text number there. And what I'm going to do now, like I said, is just put on a light purple, a little bit highlights, just to make that hat. It looks very flat, right? It's all one color, very flat, just like our pumpkin did to start with just the orange. But all you need to do to make it 3D is some shading and some highlighting. So I'm only going to highlight because, like I said, she's very dark on that. Taking a light purple, I'm just mixing some white with my purple. Dry off the brush a little. I'm just going to wipe it on my paper towel a little because I don't want to take a big brush stroke on there and have it too dark. I'd rather go on very lightly at first, see how I like it, and then I could deepen it up. But just with a little bit of that light purple, I'm going to just put a little bit of a highlight on there. It's very dry, but because it's wet, I can keep drying off my brush and softening it if it needs to be. So I'm just going to hit that here in a few places just to give it some dimension. Sometimes I just do it towards the top. So there's a light source. We'll pretend there's a light source up here, and the top would be a little bit lighter. So maybe I'll go more against that top edge. I don't have to shade because there's already a dark there, so I'll leave that side a little dark. If it was a middle of the road color, like the orange, I would put a dark and a light, but we really don't need to here. So let's just give this, we'll act like that's a light source there. On the rim, we could put a little bit of a towards the top, which would be where it would be lightest. And that's all it really needs. It's a fun little painting, so you don't need to do too much. And you can always go back. As you're painting, if that sort of settles in and it doesn't look as bright anymore, then just go back. You can see on our pumpkin down here how the yellow and the white kind of has faded a bit. I look at it later on and I just go back in if I need to, and I just do a little more. You can get it as bright as you want. That's a little bright, so I'm going to dry off the brush and just, while it's wet, just kind of soften it. If it's too bright, like that got a little too bright for me, I'm just going to dry brush a little orange over it. So remember, there are no mistakes. There's just a lot of learning experiences, right? That's what I'll say is learn. If we don't, we always learn something. So, hey, Annette. Oh, hey, I just came home this morning. I was up at Seaview. I drove home in the rain last night. Yeah, so I was up in your neighborhood. Okay, so there is, that's all we really need to do. But like I said, if you want to go back, when you look at it, and it's funny because sometimes I can see things on the camera better than I can in person. So I might want to go just a little lighter, just in a few spots. No? And that's that. I think I'll just do a little highlighting like that on my bats, and that's enough because they're just little in the background kind of flying. I don't need to do too much. I might give them 2 little dots for eyes, but I'll go to my smaller brush, that same light purple. I think maybe I'll just give them a little highlight on the tops of their wings here. Maybe on one side, just a little something. Actually, what we didn't do is a little bit of a highlight on her little cape here, dress cape thing. And on the top of their wings is where I'm putting that light purple. We'll pretend there's a big full moon and it's highlighting these little guys. Maybe down the right side of the belly. And 2 little dots for eyes. I'm going to use the brush. You could always use the back end if you have a tiny back end brush, or you could use something like a little stylus or a little dotting tool. So I'm just going to take a little bit of white and just give them little eyes. So not much to them. And you can still see my chalk lines, but I'm going to erase those. Oh, hi, Deb. Thanks for jumping on then. Yes, I'm already got there. I'm in my favorite holiday is Halloween, so I am pretty psyched that it's coming along. I'm going to be going down to Florida in a few weeks to do Halloween Horror Nights at Universal. So I will be really, really in the Halloween spirit. Okay, we do need another coat of white to get our features as light as I want. So can you see I'm adding little drops of, well, maybe you can. I'm adding little drops of water to my paint as I go. As the paint sits out, it's a little bit thick. And when I'm doing any details especially, I like to have the paint really thin down. So I thinned my paint down. one quick little go over of these triangles and the little mouth. I think I'll put a little coat of polycryl or varnish on this after to shine it up and then kind of protect it if you want to put something inside here. But I just use a water-based varnish. I'm sure the craft stores have them. There's a Mod Podge you could use. I use polycryl from the hardware store. It's a water-based varnish that Minwax makes. It's nice on signs that I put outdoors, but it's nice to get a little shiny surface on something. Brightens up the colors a little bit. There are sprays, but something like this I would just use the brush on. And if you hadn't heard, this was one of my finds from Target. When you walk in, I don't know, what do they call that section? Do you guys know what that section's called where you go into Target Red Zone or something and you find little inexpensive holiday things? I went in scouring for things that I could paint or craft. Hey, Deb. Hello from Florida. Yeah, I'm going to be down there. My son and my brother and sister live in Orlando, so I'm down there a lot. And actually, my son has a horror podcast, Fear and Beer, and it's based around Halloween Horror Nights and beer. So if you're a beer horror enthusiast, look for Fear and Beer on all of the platforms where there are podcasts. Hi, Zena. I know. I'm actually going to Target later because I need paper towels. Like I just go for one thing. I went for paper towels, and that's where I bought all these things and came home without paper towels. And then I did show you earlier, but there's the little tray that has the spider webs on it. I want to paint a spider on there. All right, so there we are. Got a little coat on there. We'll go on with yellow next. I'm going to put my light purple hat band. That could be almost any color, but I'm going to go with a light, just with a purple for that little hat band. I'll try to leave the area where I want it to be yellow so I don't have to base coat it again. Yeah, thank you. I like cute and scary and not too scary, not too creepy. It took me years to be able to go to Halloween Horror Nights, and now that I go, it's like, I can't believe I was afraid to go. It's so much fun. It really is. And I'm doing a behind the scenes tour too while I'm down there of 5 or 6 of the houses. So I can't wait. I'll have maybe some more creepier paintings then after I go. These are pretty mild. So I thought that was nice. Yeah, light purple. The middle of the bucket would have a little bit of the hat band showing through, so I'll maybe do that. And then let that dry. I'm going to touch it up. I would have a crookedy hat band if I didn't do this. Just tighten that up a little bit. And the features that are white in that buckle will all be the same color, so that'll be kind of fun. I think I'll put a little ribbon around her neck, probably in the light purple since it's there. And I'm, again, water down my paint so I could get a nice thin line. And she's just about done. So just a little bow, say, with a little ribbon. Anything else you guys can think of? I think that's good, except for putting in the yellow features. So, oh, Zena, yeah, it would be if you're kind of, and I don't want to say I'm claustrophobic, but I don't like certain places like that. But you go through pretty quick, and but I can understand it would be kind of tough if that was a thing. I know what you mean. It isn't because you're afraid of it. It's because it's just the closeness of all the people and the houses. The daytime would be good, where you go through, when we go through the behind the scenes tour, it's light. It's all just to show you how they make them and all that. That might be kind of fascinating. So I'll let you know when I'm doing that. Oh, you're funny, Zena. Is that since a COVID thing, that the paper products thing? Because I usually buy the big things at Target because I like the ones that you can get the half pieces, and the price is the best there. I like the Target brand, actually. So I would just wet over where you want to get rid of any little chalk lines. Those come off super easy. You could wet a paintbrush and just wipe them off. Oops, and there I am smudging. I'm always in a hurry to get those lines off because they make me crazy, but then, look at, I've smudged. So if you have a little smudge or paint where you don't want it, just wet your brush and you can scoot it right out. And if that doesn't work, you can just touch it up with the color underneath. Anybody have any questions or anything as I'm waiting for that to dry? I can do the features on the pumpkin, I think, now. And then by the time I do that, I think the buckle will be dry. Spray to preserve. Diana, I'm going to just put a brush on. I'm going to put a brush on varnish, and you can use, like I said, you can use a Mod Podge, whatever you want. I use this. This is the Helmsman. I only have this because I used it for some outdoor signs. I would just usually use the polycryl, and it looks a little milky, but it dries clear. And you can just brush it off and wash your brush off in water, which is great. So I would brush that on because I would like to see it a little shinier and for it to have a little protection. And you know what you could even do? I've been kind of on a glitter kick. So I love these twinkles. It's clear, it dries clear, and then just leaves a little glitter behind. So that might be kind of fun. I'm going to have to add a little of that, I think on the bats and things. It's hard. I never used glitter before. Now that I started, I can't stop. And it's not just like on one thing, but I'm going to get a little glitter out because I think it would be fun. Let's get our eyes in there. Yellow is what I'm going to use. But again, I want it to be kind of bright in there. So I might try a little white with that. Let's see how that looks. Just simply painting over what I have. So it's just a light yellow eye. I might outline it a tiny bit just to make it pop a little bit. Nothing to say that you can't do dark eyes in there if you want to do the dark, I would use black mixed with purple. I wouldn't use just straight black. I want it to look like a little glow though. So I've been painting pumpkins. We painted the other day just on one of our tutorials in the membership on shading and highlighting. So we just did, I'm going to do it this way because it's hard with the camera so close. Just quickly to show you how you can get dimension with lights and darks. I love painting teal pumpkins and those whitish pumpkins. So I'll be doing more of that. I think on one of those little glass bowls I bought at Target, I'm going to paint a little bit of still life of those pumpkins. So keep your eye out for all things pumpkins. I'm not a big pumpkin spice person, like with all of the thing that's coming out now with the coffees and whatnot. I'm not a coffee drinker really, but I do love the pumpkins to paint. So maybe I'll take a little bit of I'm going to try a little yellow and my orange, and just maybe I want it a little darker on the edges of these. It might just make it look like it pops a little bit. It's hard to see there, but I've just got a little bit darker, slightly darker shade of that yellow. It's almost a little goldish because I've mixed a tiny bit of orange. And I always take a photo after, so I'll get a photo that you can kind of look at really close. I know it's never ideal lighting and whatnot to watch paint. I try to get as close as I can for you guys and have the lighting as good as I can. I'm always improving that, always trying to figure out a better way. You can always do a little outline too, like I said, with a marker or your brush. You can kind of see that gold there, and I like that bit more gold. So I've got the little bit of orange with the yellow, and I'm going to use that for my hat band so it's not quite so light. So it's going to be more of a goldy color. And I know I'm painting upside down a lot of times and sideways. I just, wherever I can get at these things easiest. I'm not used to painting inside of baskets there. Okay, Diana, yeah, I do like the bling all of a sudden. And let's see, Zena. Oh, keto peanut butter cups sound good. I'll know where to come when I need some paper products. Deb, yeah, and they're little, and I love bats. That's another thing. I'm a big bat person. I love bats. I have a cool, I don't know where they are. I did some really fun, really colorful bats painted on a silk scarf. So then I took that painting and I painted it on wood, and I'm going to do that again before the holidays. They are fun. I love bats. I love the African fruit bats. I've done paintings. I don't know if you've gone down to Animal Kingdom, Disney. They have a walk where you go into the fruit bat section where the fruit bats are, and I have actually stood in there with my sketchbook and painted the fruit bats. I just am fascinated by them. I don't know why. So that's pretty much it, guys. So I can do a little buckle here. You could even do more shading. Like if you really want to get fancy and you want to really shade a little more, here's what I would do. When I showed you shading and highlighting, well, mostly highlighting a little while ago, a little shading, I did it wet and wet. And we do this a lot in membership and in classes. I try to show people how with acrylics I blend and highlight. Not as easy as if you're painting in oils. I'm really an oil painter. I've painted in oils my whole life, and I love that you can blend and blend and blend forever. So I try to make my acrylics act a little like oil paints. I blend wet and wet when I can quickly, but if it's dry, so say I want a shadow underneath the hat. The hat would cast a little shadow on the pumpkin, but the paint's dry. And it's hard to wet all those colors. So I'm just simply taking my my paintbrush, right? I'm going to take a flat brush. I'm going to dip it in my water a little bit, pat it off. I don't want it dripping, patting it off. I'm going to tip just the corner, tiny bit into the burnt sienna. Again, pat it a little bit. So I am blending the color with the water right on the brush. I can almost do it in one stroke. I'm going to go right underneath here with my dark. One little stroke, casting that shadow, and it looks a little more realistic. I might even do that across the bottom of the pumpkin. One stroke I could do it in. If it's too light, you have too much water, you can add a little more burnt sienna and do it again. So there's two ways I blend. I blend wet and wet, and then I do more of a wash. I could do a wash around that buckle in the purple if I'd like. Rinsed off my brush, dipped it in the water, patted it off on the paper towel, corner of the brush in the purple, the dark purple, and just pat it off a little bit. And just on the side of the buckle, it might be a little darker. So it's like one little stroke there of dark. One little stroke, cast a little shadow, looks a little bit, has a little bit more dimension. It just looks a little more round. I can do it on the edges. You could do highlights and shadows on the buckle, but I don't think on this little project we need to do a lot of that. I think what we have is enough. I have a little purple showing through, so I'm just touching that up. So there, I think that's good enough, right? What do you guys think? I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to put a little bit of bling, just some of that. It's just called Twinkles. It's deco art. There's lots of different glitters. Some of the big glitter pieces, this I like the best. So I think I'll put a little of that on, let it dry well, put a little brush on varnish, and it's a cute little basket from Target, and I believe it was the $5 one. So, and watch, get on my list, get on my texting list, and you'll know when I go to paint the spider on this. I love suggestions, so please comment, send me messages, anything you want to see painted. I would love to hear from you, and I'd love to paint with you again. So any questions, let me know, and I'll come back and answer them, and there will be a recording. So I'd love it if you let me know what you think. Oh, Nelda, thank you. Yeah, very cute. I love painting whimsical, fun, cute little things. I'll take a photo so you can see a better picture of it too. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and thank you for painting with me. Bye now.